We have an absolutely loaded show coming your way, and that includes the potential return of Klay Thompson on Sunday. Looks as though things are trending in that direction against the Cleveland Cavaliers, according to Adrian Wojnaroswki. So if you're pumped up to see Klay back on the floor rocking that Dubs jersey for the first time in 2 years, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video, and let's talk some Dubs hoops. Welcome into Golden State Warriors Today by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Chase Senior. We start off today's show with some fresh reporting from Adrian Wojnaroswki pertaining to Klay Thompson. He was with the team on that back-to-back road trip a couple of days ago. He has returned to San Francisco, and all signs point to Klay Thompson making his return to the basketball floor on Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers in front of what is going to be a lit Chase Center in San Francisco. Adrian Wojnaroswki saying this on ESPN on Friday. Klay Thompson was with the team on their back-to-back on the road in Dallas and New Orleans and traveled back to San Francisco with the group, but all signs, I'm told, continue to point to Sunday for Klay Thompson's first game in 2 seasons. Huge news for the Golden State Warriors. This is going to help them defensively. It's going to help them on the offensive end of the floor, and this is going to re-inject them with a bunch of energy. And for Klay Thompson, a long road back. Suffered that torn ACL in the NBA Finals a couple years ago, then suffered that torn Achilles on NBA draft night last year, has not played a game in 2 years. Looks as though that is going to be coming to an end finally on Sunday against Cleveland. More Warriors news to get to. They have signed Gary Payton II to a guaranteed contract for the rest of the year. For him, it really is a fantastic story. This is a guy who's had to grind throughout his NBA career, the last half decade, spending a lot of that at the NBA G League, but this year he's really been able to prove himself as a valuable component on this Warriors roster, and because of that, he was rewarded in very surprising fashion. Steve Kerr was asked about it during one of his press gatherings, and a reporter had asked Steve Kerr, hey, what's up with Gary Payton II's contract leading up to Friday's deadline? And Steve Kerr said, I'm going to make that decision right now. Sorry, Bob Meyers. We're going to guarantee him the rest of the year. Gary Payton II was asked about that because he was very surprised by the news, and he was pretty humble. Not a mention or a time I felt safe, or not a moment or a time I felt safe, I should say. I don't know if I still do feel safe, but I guess Coach Kerr said what he said, so it is what it is. Thrilled and excited to be here. As for what Gary Payton has been able to do this year, what stood out to me is his just overall value to this team on both ends of the floor and him playing multiple positions. And nobody really expected him to put up these numbers, 8 points per game, more than a steal per game. But how about that three-point percentage at almost 41%? Gary Payton has really put an onus on growing his offensive game, and it's worked out for him and the Golden State Warriors this year. Previous point that I made, Payton has really had to grind his entire career. I mean, it's pretty crazy that he's about to be 30 years old. He spent the last half decade in the G League after coming out of Oregon State, and he's been a journeyman up to this point. But kind of like last year when Juan Toscano-Anderson was rewarded for him just grinding and getting in the lab, GPII, the same story with him as well. And he's been a big help off the bench for this Warriors team. The last couple of games, he's actually started. Now, he's accepted every role that Steve Kerr has put on his plate, including at moments playing center. So that goes to show you the overall value that GP2 has had for this team this year, and that's a big reason why they want to keep him from here on out until the end of the regular season. There's something to monitor, too, going into next year. And during this summer and in the offseason, because of how he's played this year, he could secure himself a nice little payday. So how would you describe GP2 in one word? That's my challenge for you, Dub Nation, in the comment section right now. And just describe him in one word down in the comment section right now. I'm going with gritty, because GP2 has been a very, very gritty player. You let me know in the comment section down below. As for what Anthony Slater of The Athletic had to say about Payton II, every time Payton was on the floor, the Warriors sprinted away from teams. He won over the fans with his highlights. He won over the analytic community with his advanced numbers. The Warriors have a plus 12.7 net rating with him on the floor this year. He's made 64% of his shots and 41% of his threes. Of late, that has earned him a starting spot before Klay Thompson returns. Nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. Now, I have to give credit to the fan base because they were telling me, Chase, the Warriors should have GP2 on this opening night roster right out of training camp, and they didn't. They elected to not have him on that first initial roster, and people were really surprised by that. And while nobody saw this coming, the fan base kind of saw the potential in him because he didn't make that initial roster, and that's why he surprised so many people, but he has earned all of this praise, including praise from Steve Kerr, who said, Gary's a two-way player. When you were that elite defensively, the question then in the playoffs then becomes, can you survive offensively? This is a guy who is among the league's leaders in field goal percentage. He has a knack around the rim in terms of scoring, transition, offense, rebounding, playing in the dunker spot. Then he's dramatically improved his three-point shot. Gary is the real deal. He's going to be in our rotation, I think, in any big game. So not only is he going to be with this team, not only is he going to get minutes, but come playoff time, Gary Payton II could be a big part of this Warriors rotation. Now, whether a trade happens leading up to the NBA trade deadline, or whether we bring you this breaking Klay Thompson news, or tell you about this contract guarantee for Gary Payton II, we literally cover it all right here on Golden State Warriors Today, and that's a big reason why we've been able to grow so quickly. So if you want to be a part of the Dub Nation family here at Chat Sports, and you want to stay in the know with the best Warriors coverage on the entire internet, just hit that red subscribe button down below. In addition to passing along the latest Warriors news and rumors, we also have merchandise deals for you thanks to our friends at Fanatics. Another reason why you got to subscribe. Limited time only, this The Bay sweatshirt available thanks to our friends at Fanatics, only if you use that link down below. It's chatsports.com/thebay. I'm going to put this link in the comment section as well as the description. That logo is one of the more underrated secondary logos among all teams in the NBA, and the good news is you can rock that as a hoodie. All sizes available right now. Limited time only. That hoodie only $45. Warriors trade targets, and I know some of you have been chirping in the comment section saying, Chase, all you do is talk about trades. Well, you must have missed the whole first half of the video when we were talking about Klay Thompson and Gary Payton II. The reality is, good organizations and good teams who have an opportunity to win an NBA championship are always looking for ways to improve. And that includes kind of canvassing the landscape and looking at potential trade targets going up to the NBA trade deadline. And if a trade happens, nobody should be surprised. And there's definitely some, while minimal, there are some holes on this Warriors roster. But Myles Turner, Eric Gordon, Buddy Hield. Three names who the Warriors could be in on because all three of them fulfill different needs for this current Warriors roster. Now, we've talked a lot about Myles Turner because among trade candidates out there, I think Myles Turner might be my favorite because of what the Warriors need in that front court, what he would give you, and how elite he is on the defensive end of the floor. And while you look at the numbers and you're like 13 points per game, 7 rebounds, he leads the league in blocks with almost 3 and shoots 52% from the floor, a lot of you will say, I mean, those aren't crazy numbers. No. But really, it's the impact that Myles Turner has that really is a championship-level impact. And for Myles Turner, the biggest advantage of bringing him in, he would make the NBA's #1 defense for Golden State even better, which is kind of a scary thought. And when you match up with a team like the Phoenix Suns in the NBA playoffs, you match up Myles Turner, a big body, against a guy like DeAndre Ayton, that then helps you over the course of a 7-game playoff series. How about a floor spacer and a shooter who has really turned it on the last couple of weeks in Eric Gordon of the Houston Rockets? Now, the Houston Rockets are looking forward to rebuilding. Obviously, Eric Gordon is not a part of that because he's an older player, and after a slow start to the year, he's been lighting it up with his shooting numbers. 45.5% from three-point range, almost 49 overall, just overall field goals, averaging almost 15 points per game. And can you imagine his efficiency shooting-wise playing alongside players like Steph Curry as well as Klay Thompson? More shooting is what Eric Gordon would give you, and a playoff-savvy veteran in the process as well, who's played in a bunch of big playoff games, including being deadlocked and gridlocked in a lot of big playoff games against the Warriors while with the Houston Rockets. Lastly, Buddy Hield. I don't think this is really all that realistic because of his salary, but he's a good player. And since he came into the league, he's been up there with Steph Curry and Klay Thompson as far as some of the better shooters in the NBA efficiency-wise. And this year, pretty solid numbers, 16 points per game. Now, don't really get scared away by the field goal percentage at 39 because all he's going to do is really chuck it from distance, and he's connecting on 38% of his three-point attempts on 13 attempts per night. So considering the volume there, that's pretty good efficiency. But when it comes down to Buddy Hield, who would you trade away in order to take that contract on? And the possibility of trading away Andrew Wiggins for Buddy Hield is not something that I'm about. Andrew Wiggins is playing at an all-star level like we covered here on Golden State Warriors Today yesterday, and I'd rather have Andrew Wiggins because of his overall impact and what he gives you on both ends of the floor over a guy like Buddy Hield, who really is just a singularly focused player on the offensive end and can be spotty on the offensive end as well. So listen up. I would not trade away Andrew Wiggins for Buddy Hield, although a lot of people are going to get that misconstrued in the comment section. I still love you, though. Favorite target if the Warriors were to trade for one of these players? Who do you like the most? Type MT for Miles Turner, EG for Eric Gordon, BH for Buddy Hield. Let your voices be heard in the comment section. Klay Thompson probably making his return on Sunday. Cannot wait, and thanks for watching today's show.